No news yet from India-China Corps commanders meet. China passes an authoritarian security law for Hong Kong. Airbus to cut 15,000 jobs. And Boeing suffers a 97 aircraft order cancellation. All this and more on StratPost Daily with me, Saurabh Joshi, on this Wednesday, the 1st of July. There is no word yet on the Corps commanders meeting between the Indian Army and the Chinese People's Liberation Army that began on Tuesday morning at Chushul. India's 14th Corps Commander, Lieutenant General Harinder Singh, met South Xinjiang Military District Commander, Major General Liu Lin, in a meeting that apparently continued late into the night. This is the third round of talks between the two officials for de-escalating the military standoff in Ladakh. A new law has come into force in Hong Kong, allowing the government of the People's Republic of China sweeping authority over cases involving so-called national security. The new law has been widely criticized for curtailing the freedoms of Hong Kong residents and giving authoritarian powers to agents of mainland China. Beijing's proxy in Hong Kong, Chief Executive Carrie Lam, admitted she had not seen the draft before it was approved into law. According to some analysts, Article 38 of the new law technically appears to confer upon Communist China jurisdiction over anyone in the world by making the law enforceable against non-residents of Hong Kong in an open-ended manner. Meanwhile, in a first response, the US has banned any defense exports to Hong Kong, which has been treated differently from China for the purpose of commerce because of a recognition of the one country, two systems concept, something that appears to be no longer acceptable. This measure is mostly symbolic since the US did not export any significant defense material of value to Hong Kong. A press statement by US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said, quote, "As Beijing moves forward with passing the national security law, the United States will today end exports of US origin defense equipment and will take steps towards imposing the same restrictions on US defense and dual-use technologies to Hong Kong as it does for China." The statement also added, "Given Beijing now treats Hong Kong as one country, one system, so must we." End quote. Meanwhile, the government of Taiwan is launching a dedicated office today to help those who want to escape from Hong Kong. In a separate action, the US Federal Communications Commission announced that it was designating two of China's telecom giants, Huawei and ZTE Corporation, as national security threats for ties to the Chinese Communist Party and the PLA. In the latest impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the aviation industry, European aircraft manufacturer Airbus has announced it will be cutting 15,000 jobs over the next year. The company said in a statement, quote, "With air traffic not expected to recover to pre-COVID levels before 2023 and potentially as late as 2025, Airbus now needs to take additional measures to reflect the post-COVID-19 industry outlook." End quote. The job cuts are expected across the company's commercial aircraft business in Germany, France, the UK, and Spain over the next year, and will affect 11% of its total workforce. The company said it expects to eliminate 5,100 jobs in Germany, 5,000 jobs in France, 1,700 jobs in the UK, 900 jobs in Spain, and a further 1,300 positions around the world. Airbus had announced cuts in production by a third in April due to the pandemic. In 2019, Airbus had delivered a record 863 aircraft. Rival Boeing too has suffered another hit, with Norwegian cancelling an order for 97 aircraft. The US aircraft manufacturer had announced 16,000 redundancies in April. With this move, Norwegian has cancelled all its pending orders, consisting of 92 737 MAX aircraft and 5 787 Dreamliners. Meanwhile, Airbus India is getting a new boss. The current head of Airbus Services, Remy Mayad, will take over as president of Airbus India and managing director of the South Asia region from September, succeeding Anand Stanley, who is moving to Singapore as president of Airbus Asia Pacific. US naval aviators have been subjected to counseling because of an apparently inappropriate morale patch they wore on their uniforms. The Virginian pilot reported that a group of pilots on board the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford were told the patch was unauthorized for wear. According to the report and images posted on Twitter, The bottom half of the round patch featured an image of the aircraft carrier along with the words America's newest carrier in a semicircle around the logo. This was not the problem. The top half of the patch had the image of a bat along with the words China's newest carrier in a semicircle above the image of the mammal. This was a reference to speculation about the original host of the novel coronavirus, from which it jumped to humans in Chinese wet markets, according to one set of theories. Morale patches are often unofficial and designed without any formal approval by military authorities, especially among aviators. Designers often take pride in their skillful display of inside jokes, and patch designs are ultimately judged for their irreverent and rude humor that might not usually be welcome in polite conversation. Meanwhile, China has approved an experimental COVID-19 vaccine for military use. A British A330 Voyager multi-role tanker transport aircraft has received a new livery for VVIP transportation. The now white aircraft, named Vespina, carries the Royal Air Force roundel and insignia besides a stylized British flag on the tail. Prime Minister Boris Johnson had famously called the military grey aircraft boring when he was foreign minister. The bill for this makeover was $1.1 million. That's it from me. I'll be back with another edition of StratPost Daily tomorrow.